special stream. I'm going to give folks a minute to find the chat. And this is my associate Clark. And
Hey.
yeah, we've been through a lot. Honestly, like we're kind of just freeballing this because it's just been so chaotic, and we've had absolutely no time to really breathe or process or whatever. We were part of a big scandal that affected both of us in a lot of ways, and so many other people. Some of you might remember the T-Boy Wrestling talk that I did, and that was mostly like on my channel. I try to bring stuff that helps people or gives a look into my life. But that one specifically was to spread awareness about the T-Boy scandal, which affected so many people. Um, but before we get into the meat and potatoes of this bad bitch, I'm gonna check in the chat, see how. Oh, Patty's already commenting. What's up, Patty? That's one of my regulars. White Dove, how's it going? How y'all doing, chat? Let me know. Yeah, I don't know. Just say hi. Wave. Hit the thumbs up button. Whatever. Do the things. Hey, what's up, Sam? Antonia and conspiracy theorists. Fuck yeah, we got our all-star mods in the house. Today for the mods, the only thing that I'm trying to promote for donations is the link that's in the description right now, and that's the GoFundMe for the saving of our print shop, which we'll get to all of the details of that, but we have saved it. It's temporarily it's good. We're in the print shop, or our temporary location right now, and I'll give you a look around later. Got 20 folks in chat now. Nice. Chris Bandit, Jeffrey, how's it going? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And Conspiracy Theorist has that link there. If anybody wants to start off, I don't think we have any donations in that GoFundMe yet. And one thing that I learned busking on the street is that if you don't put $1 in there as like bait, like I would never spend my last dollar, because if you don't have $1 in your hat while you're busking, nobody wants to be the first person to put the dollar in there. So if anybody wants to be the first and break that ice, then we can get some traction going on that. Even if it's $1, $5, whatever, we are really, really scrambling. It's actually so intense, and even just like in the last few days, there have been more things that have come up that we're going to have to, like fires that we have to put out, not literal fires, fortunately, but like not, um, but things that are going to cost us money that we don't have, and because the print shop was um, displaced, and it's so much more than that. Actually, I feel like honestly, like I feel like I can't even talk about it without explaining what's going on. And it seems like we've got most folks in here, and as we go on, I'm sure more folks will join us. Um, let's see, Clark, do you wanna talk about, I don't know, like in
I mean, do we want to like say what the print shop was? Do your
yeah, do you want to talk about what the print shop was to you?
Yeah, I mean like the print shop LA was a community, like it was presented as a by community for community space, for printers, for anyone who was at any skill level with printmaking, whether you were just very curious about and have no experience, to like people who literally went to school for it, like myself and some other folks involved. And I come from like I went to like art school and that shit was expensive, and I like even right now while I'm like scrambling to pay my bills after losing my like full-time work basically with the print shop, I am like, one of those bills is my student loans, and it's like that's some bullshit. Are we able to?
Yeah. It's the Cornelius Van Gogh channel. We can say all the swears we want. It's
Just
fine.
making sure.
Um,
But yeah, like that was like the big thing about it that really attracted me was like being able to like teach other folks. I was a teacher there for this past year, and like being able to teach the skill in the art of printmaking to others without the paywall of art school was really something. Like that like really
Yeah.
sings to like my soul, and like what I learned from going to art school, which is you don't need to go to art school to be an artist.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I could go on about all the other things it was to me, but yeah, that was.
One of the kind of one of the things that like I got the impression of the print shop is like what Clark was saying, where it was, you know, a place that made the arts and academics, art academics, like accessible to people that couldn't afford to go to art school. Like I learned how to screen print by doing work there, and eventually, you know, I was showing other people how to do stuff, and
Volume is low.
that was when you were
Oh
speaking.
shit!
Yeah,
Sorry.
just yell like I do. I have volume control issues, and part of that is because I do these live streams and I don't have a lav mic, so I have to like scream at my camera, my phone. Um, but yeah, anyway. So that like my impression of the space was that it was more accessibility oriented, and there were a lot of classes that people could join for like $20, $50. There were more expensive, like intensive classes that were like a couple $100 or a few $100. But there was also like drawing classes that were just like really focused on visibility of trans people, which I liked a lot. But that was part of the image. And what we found out about Mish, the person who was our former boss, is that um, there wasn't substance behind it. It was like a, essentially like a Ponzi scheme, and like a money, like it was he was committing business fraud. And it got to be really out of control as T-Boy Wrestling was kicking off. And when I first started working at the print shop, it was really obviously being neglected by Mish. But at that time, you know, I saw him working on T-Boy Wrestling, and I saw a person with a passion for their vision of creating a trans, um, I guess, like a show, like a variety show that centers around wrestling and masculinity. And I wanted to step in personally and kind of pick up some of that slack in that empty space that Misha had left. So in the time that I was working there, I started off as an intern and got promoted to like shop manager or whatever, and just kind of like, you know, kept things, you know, like I was like oiling the machine basically. Like people like Clark and our other artists were still running classes and taking commissions, and I was kind of just like keeping things tidy and helping to speak to people that came in and needed to ask questions and stuff, and just kind of like helping things to actually run. And that was cool. But then Mish took me off of that and had me completely focus on like working events for him and doing work for T-Boy Wrestling. Um, but that was also the time when it was talked about that the print shop would be moving to like a temporary space, which was here, and that was only supposed to go on for 1 month, and it was going to be like, you know, that was supposed to be back in like July or something that it got started talking about, maybe August.
Well, yeah, that's connected to a whole other situation.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So we were supposed to move to this location temporarily and then have another space lined up. But that just never really happened. You know, I was at the ready to help move stuff, and I was really like, I had been talking on my channel a bunch, like, yeah, when the print shop, you know, is open again, then I'm gonna do a merch run. I know folks on my channel have been really wanting some new merch from me, and I wanted to do a handprint, not that Teespring stuff. So I was kind of waiting on that, and then it kind of just dragged on, and it was like, oh, we're gonna move eventually, and the print shop in the last like couple months, like was essentially a sweatshop where Clark was making T-Boy wrestling merch. The place was an absolute mess. It was really dark, and Clark was doing insane hours with insane deadlines, working for way too little, and making Mish a ton of money while he just did nothing, and was involved with other stuff. And I honestly thought Mish was like working really hard, and that's why we never saw him. Because I guess I'm naive in that aspect. Like up until recently, like there were definitely red flags. Um, but I didn't see them, you know. I gave him the benefit of a doubt like way too many times, and I just kind of like in my mind was like, yeah, Misha's on his grind set. You know, he's like really working hard. That's why he needs me to help pick up slack at the shop and work in events and stuff. And then we found out that Mish hadn't paid rent at the print shop
This was back in August.
back since August or since July.
Yeah, well, like we found
Yeah.
out in August. Yeah.
Well, yeah, Clark had found an eviction notice and some court papers back in August. I had seen it too, and like we both knew that there was something weird going on with that, but Mish was telling people that he was taking care of things, so we were just like, whatever. And
I mean, we
My-
still trusted him at the time.
we still trusted him. I honestly, my anarchist ass was like, I went to like my experience with squatting, and I kind of was just like, oh well, maybe he's like this is a tactical thing, like I don't know, like maybe the reason he's not going to the print shop is because he's evading this eviction and trying to, I don't know, get on top of his money thing and handle it. But also I was just like, that's between him and whatever's going on. Like this is definitely something on our radar that we're concerned about. But we just kind of like, we're just like, all right, well, we're gonna continue doing what we do because there's not really a whole lot that we can do about it because Clark did reach out to Mish about it, right? You messaged him
Well, like
about the eviction notice.
the notice was sent to us from an intern at the shop in a group message while we were in New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm just banning somebody. Nice. Blue Collar Grow says, "What's up, love your stuff? Big fan here. Hell yeah." Sam says, "It's clear and can hear you, but feel free to yell directly at the phone." Thank you, Sam. We will. I mean, at least I will. I'm good.
I'll do my best.
So that was kind of a situation that was brewing. And getting back to the T-Boy wrestling scandal, it all relates. So
It's all intertwined. They like.
yeah, yeah. We had found out. So there was going to be a team meeting for the T-Boy wrestling production team, or we weren't really called that. I've been calling us that because that's what we were, but we. And I guess I'll follow up with that. It's like it's so crazy. So there was a pre-meeting, like a pre-game the day before, and we all met on Zoom, and I had no idea what we were going to be talking about. And we get on, and everybody's saying that they are owed a lot of money by Mish and have been trying to get paid, and there were other concerns as well, including sexual misconduct situations, that it wasn't just like like one or two people, it was a few people, and we were finding out more and more stuff. This was all a huge shock to me, and like I really didn't have a whole lot of time to digest this either. It was just like and so everybody unanimously in that meeting agreed, like, we're not moving forward with T-Boy Wrestling, which up until that point had seemed very, very successful, and that we were like on a track to like kind of breaking to a new level of success with that. Countrywide tour had just been like announced without any of us knowing about it beforehand, which we all thought was weird too. Things were looking like like they would be developing in a favorable way for us up until that point, except for the people that had been talking to each other about not being paid. And you know, like when they first started talking to each other, each of us kind of had the impression that we were like the special case where it was just us that was having trouble with Mish, and also we were the one that was like kind of being thrown a bone to be on the team or whatever. Like I was just grateful to participate, and a lot of other people were too, without realizing like how much work each of us was doing.
I think like part of the reason we were all willing to like throw down like that is because the situation got talked up to like be this like very like once in a lifetime like
Mm.
in a
For
lot
the
of ways
community.
it was, and in a lot of ways it was that, but it was the way it was gone about was just not sustainable. So
Yeah.
that's why it wasn't that.
Yeah, and I mean, the reason why I was so willing to do so much for Mish is because like I was doing it for the community. What I saw was an event where trans people were being empowered and having unique opportunities, and Mish was doing like fundraisers with under the guise of helping to pay for like certain people's travel expenses and other things involving like I mean what he had kind of billed it as was that these drives were to help less privileged wrestlers to have some of this money to help them so that they could participate. And we never actually saw any evidence of that happening. We don't know where that money went. And in fact, there's a lot of money that we don't know where the hell it went. I'm going to catch up in chat here before we move on. Let's see. How's it going, Zoe? And Patty says, I like Clark already. My first impressions are usually legit. Good luck climbing out of this mess. Thank you. Conspiracy theorist says it's so devastating that such a legitimately good cause was undermined by deception. Yeah, and like all of us that were participating, we know what we thought was going on. And what we all did, regardless of Mish, was really that was real and that was really beautiful. Like there were amazing aspects. It's not because of Mish, you know, he was taking credit for all of our work and keeping everybody like in the dark about what everybody else was doing. So there was a lot of unaccounted for things that, you know, we were being painted a very different picture of what was happening. So I guess getting back to
Yeah, like I think that's a good segue, the money thing, because like getting back, I guess
yeah,
like we thought a lot of that money might have been going back to the print shop. At least that was some of my suspicion. Because he was so good at like reassuring us, and when that eviction notice was
right, I thought he was trying to buy time by evading that.
I was giving him like, I really wanted to believe that he was working to pay it from like when stuff with T-Boy Wrestling wasn't getting paid, especially even like when I wasn't seeing my money. Like, I guess that was just me trying to like
pressing for your money.
Yeah, just like trying to feel better about the situation, even though like my red flags were like going up about it. But.
Yeah. So he hadn't been paying rent for the print shop for 5 months. So this scandal broke. We had the meeting with everybody, and it was revealed that a lot like everybody was owed money, and everybody like there was a lot of other harms that had been occurring by Mish through T-Boy Wrestling, and we all agreed that we weren't moving forward with Mish involved at all. And then the next day we had a meeting set up that was with Mish and Adam, who were like, Adam created TDLA, which is where T-Boy Wrestling comes from, and Mish kind of co-opted it. He took it and like ran it into the ground. And Adam was also in the dark about the finances as well. Mish was really, really dirty and scammy and scummy about how the money was being handled, and that had been brought up in the past as well. Um, so immediately at the beginning of that meeting, um, they are like, okay, so one of the things we want to talk about in this meeting is that next year we're going to have an accountant. And that's when Ashton was like, all right, well, before we can move on to that point, we all have something to say. And then people talked about how Mish owed them money and how we weren't going to move ahead with him. And I talked about this on the T-Boy Wrestling one, so if you're interested in all of that, I had a very emotional 2-hour talk about T-Boy Wrestling like pretty quickly after that happened. Um, but let's fast forward a couple weeks after that. So we had that. There was the falling out. Mish was removed from it altogether. And there was talk about whether we would even be able to save T-Boy Wrestling at all and move forward with that. And there's this whole sub scandal, whatever stuff, weird situations with that. So I think it was like a week or two later, I was coming back from Slab City. The print shop was still at this unpaid for location. And Clark messages me saying, like, the movers are at the print shop and they're moving stuff over to here at the studio. And nobody really got a heads up before that happened. It just kind of started happening. And by the time I got here, this place was just like full of stuff. Um, and there were most of the printers, or most of the people still involved with the print shop really didn't know the whole scope of what had happened with T-Boy Wrestling or what the hell was happening with the print shop, because Mish was still telling them that this was a temporary move and the print shop would resume business, quickly, and it was supposed to be.
And I feel like that's what brings you and I together in a lot of this, is that we were like caught between these two worlds, between the print shop
So
world.
we could see what the fuck was happening, and I knew like what was happening with T-Boy Wrestling at that time was also happening with the print shop, but the print shop situation was kind of on a week delay or so of like these developments as far as like the public knowing. And that was a big part of why I did my talk on T-Boy Wrestling and took to the socials to talk about it, just to get awareness, because a lot of people were just in the dark. And after the move, Mish listed a couple of the higher priced print shop equipment items on Craigslist to sell. That's when our alarms really started going off.
Not only Craigslist, but on the print shop's Instagram.
On the
which
print
was the
shop's
real kicker,
Instagram.
without like, because there was like no communication to like anyone involved with the shop, let alone like anyone who like
Right.
used to like come to the shop for any reason.
So-
like that's something you would really want to connect, like
Yeah.
let your client
Yeah.
base know, in my opinion,
'Cause
at least.
The Rezo was a huge part of the printing. Like there were Rezo classes and meetups and socials, like that, and that's gone. But because stuff was over here, oh yeah, and then, that's when alarm bells started going off, and I'm thinking like I have access to the building, like maybe we could coordinate for artists to go and pick up things, because they're not going to get paid back the money that Mish owes them. He owes like over $200,000 total between T-Boy Wrestling and the print shop, and there's, I'm sure, more that we don't know about yet. There's new developments all the time. But then, in like the last week and a half of December or November, I got a message from another renter here that was subletting from Mish and had given him the money for their room that they're renting, and the landlord had spoken to this person and said like, Mish Miller never paid me for rent, and if I don't get word from him in the next, in the next week, I'm gonna clear out all of the stuff that he left here, resell it, throw it away, whatever. Um, and that's when we decided to take action. Um, that's when we decided to intervene. But before we move on to that, I'm gonna check back in the chat. If anybody has any questions up until up to this point, feel free to ask questions. And I don't know, is there anybody in the chat here that is or was a member of Print Shop LA or T-Boy Wrestling or anything like that? I want to see if there's anybody in the chat that is not my regulars or randos. If you're here specifically for PSLA, give me a thumbs up or a hand wave or something. Anybody? And for my regulars, how y'all doing? Long time no see. Sorry, I'll get back to regularly live streaming as soon as I can. It's just been insane. It's been insane. Which kind of brings us to the next point. I don't see any hand waves. There's I feel like maybe there's lurkers or something here, but also they'll watch on replay and get the story. So I don't want to waste too much time doing the YouTube whatever. Let's see. Oh, hi Viclin. You're a regular. You're not here for PSLA. You're one of my regulars, fucker. But hi. Also hit the thumbs up button, and if you would like to help we're gonna get to all this too. We do have plans, and we have been making some serious moves, which is gonna be the second half of this stream. But if anybody wants to donate to our GoFundMe so that we can move to another location, and it's a really exciting location, especially for folks that follow me for my more punk rock anarchist activist views. Sam is posting the link. Thank you, Sam. Yes, awesome. I don't see any thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up button. Somebody hit it right now. I want to see that number go up to 18. Let's go. Get your thumbs out your asses. Hit that thumbs up button. And I'm going to check the GoFundMe and see if anybody kicked down. I really hope somebody did. Let's take a look. Still nothing. Come on. Somebody. Anybody. $1. $5. Be the first. Somebody's got us. I know somebody out there gives a shit about art. It's a really special collective. There's so much talent. And what are some of the things that the print shop does?
I mean the big so we have classes of different varieties from more public facing classes. A very popular one that isn't necessarily in the line of print but is in the arts is figure drawing, specifically nude figure drawing centering trans folks. It's I feel like a nice space where it's kind of
it's kind of got a campy sort of feel because you're dealing with nudity. It's kind of cute and not so much focused on sexiness, but that's where kind of the academic aspect comes into play.
Because I feel like that's something it's hard to find
it is
outside of that environment, the academic environment. It's the first time I came across it, at least in the real world, which is great. And then we've done different workshops like Compton Girls Club.
Oh yeah, I heard about that one.
Did a couple of us got together and did a whole workshop with them. So that has happened in the past two previous to my time with the print shop. I was with the shop for a year and a half, but a year as a employee, I would say. Before that I was just a member.
Some of the earlier events that really inspired me there was a couple of speaking events about different aspects of social struggles for specifically like BIPOC and activism as like a trans person of color, which was really cool, and some printing events for like flyers and zines and stuff. And there was even like a comedy night where we had a trans comic do like a short, like a little set. And there was also a couple of events early on, I think before you came on too, that were like actually music events.
And the thing about the shop too is I know there was a lot more going on before my time there. Like
Before
my time,
T-Boy Wrestling.
yeah, my time kind of like my time with the shop saw a lot of its decline, but I know that there was like a very bright, vibrant past that existed.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what we're trying to bring back.
Yeah, we're trying
Like-
to take like keep all of those things that like we really liked about what we thought was going on with the space, with actual substance behind it. Like, you know, it comes down to it. Misha is a money grubbing capitalist that wanted to replicate certain like the most toxic aspects of business and like getting capital and money. Sapphire says hi. Kaylin Boyle says, I'm a semi-regular from PSLA. I couldn't comment before I wasn't logged in. Oh, hey, nice to see you. I knew there was some folks lurking. Yeah. Have you been in the chat the whole time? You kind of are like up on what we were talking about so far. To give Cliff Notes, PSLA is dead and Mish killed it. We have acquired our equipment. It is ours. Like in a legal sense and like an adverse possession sense, it was abandoned here at the studio by Mish, and we've taken it, and we are going to rebuild. We're not going to be Print Shop LA. Hey, some Rhonda, you kicked down. I don't even have my money links in the description. I want people to kick down to the GoFundMe. Thank you so much, Rhonda. You little scallywag. What the fuck? Somebody donate to the GoFundMe though, please, 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 please. We need like the first person. So anyway, we actually just named ourselves this evening during a group meeting. There is a handful of artists that have come together because of our time at Print Shop LA, and we are moving forward as an artist collective. And we will be moving forward with accessible classes. Chris Bandit says, I just donated GoFundMe. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Dope. We got our first one. Hey. Now if anybody wants to follow suit, there's the link. We appreciate you. We're going to be trying to run this. I know the goal is high and we don't expect to reach the 5K goal. That's like just if we did make that, that would fix everything for us, you know? Like, but even just like a couple $100 over the course of the next month, will completely change our lives. Because we're struggling to figure out how to start making money again. We have all the components. It's been so chaotic. It's literally only the third of the month, and we've already got this space like semi-functional, and it will be functional at least to our needs at this point. And yeah, we want to offer classes, do events. I want to bring my own activist background as especially an anarchist librarian, and you know, print and libraries go like this. So I want to bring a focus to printing zines and distributing them so we can have our own like zine distro free library, even if it starts out real small. Kaylin says, donate. I'm glad y'all are going to keep it going. Thank you, Kaylin. We appreciate it. And we don't have an Instagram up yet. Oh, yeah, that brings us to our name. We are now, we're called, Offset Arts. And that's, so keep an eye out for Offset Arts. And, you know, in keeping with, like I said, my background as an anarchist librarian, we will definitely be leaning into that, like, DIY academia kind of vibe, while also soon offering like memberships where we're gonna have a little bit more quality control as far as memberships, and that's all like huge topics. And you know, if people want to get to that point, if they don't have previous credentials, then they can take our classes or demonstrate that what they want to work with, they're qualified to work with, so we don't end up with some situations that we dealt with before. Um, but you know,
And yeah, I guess like making sure the environment is just like supported, because I know like with like my time like going from member to like basically, and like that happening kind of like during the decline, I would say, is that a lot like everything had to go through this one person, because this one person was like absent and not willing to let others
yeah,
take the wheel in the way that the wheel needed to be took.
yeah. I think that's why he took me off, honestly. Like,
Yeah, that's a whole.
he didn't want
yeah, that's a
anybody
whole.
actually doing effective shit because his ego was threatened by
Well,
it.
and that's like why he like also got like the show was the wrestling was stealing the show at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because that's what was, I don't know, bringing in money that didn't exist.
And like we could talk all day long about like our theories about why, you know, why shit got so crazy and like what Misha's actual deal is or whatever, but like we don't have time for it because he left us a huge mess to clean up.
Yeah.
So let's see, where were we before our little interlude there? So we I secured okay, so this is fun fact about me. I'm 37 years old and never in my life have I signed a lease. I'm a career squatter, and I barter like, you know, if you know me from my time at Slab City Library, you know what my business on paper in my household or whatever is. So like on paper, I'm a business owner, homeowner, and I like it's literally a semi-outdoor library built out of salvage. But to get and it's totally off grid. To get this spot secured, I spoke to the landlord, who I do have a rapport with because I've been around here for a minute. I got him to agree with us to clean up the mess so it doesn't cost him more money, to give us a 1 month agreement for rent. And my first lease in my whole life was handwritten in my little notebook, and we both signed on like a line that I made, and I put cash directly in his bank, which is like around the corner, and we had fundraised that money like in 48 hours. Because yeah, there was a lot of people who were really concerned, and it was amazing. So we got 1 month here. Also, left abandoned in this building was the LA Print Society archive, which Mish had been paid by the Print Society to store, and he had also taken their money for their month of rent and didn't pay rent here. So he left that in jeopardy as well, which as a librarian is something that I just can't. I'm not like an archive, like I'm not gonna just like let that be in jeopardy. We got a hold of, and this was like a team effort too, and like coordinating, getting a hold of LAPS and working with them to also secure their collection. And in the last like couple days, especially after we had finally like moved all of our stuff into this room and moved the Print Society archive into another room after kind of fostering, I sort of fostered the same weird 1 month situation between them and the landlord as well. He really didn't want to do it, but you know, it went through and it's good. We noticed after moving things and getting everything settled that there were a few things missing. One of which was part of the print archive, which is a flat file that is full of like historical prints. And another thing was one of our artists' equipment, which is 4 Brother embroidery machines, which are in the ballpark of like $700 each. And you know, we don't know if there's anything else missing yet. But what we found out is, and it's not surprising, given Misha's track record of not paying people, he didn't pay the movers. So in the middle of their moving, they realized like, oh, that money didn't go through, and they confiscated the remaining stuff, and it is in a storage container somewhere in like Culver City or something like that. And so we were trying really desperately to figure out, like, at first we were like, did he steal them to sell them? That would be in keeping with his character, but also in keeping with his character would be that option where like he didn't pay the movers and they confiscated stuff, or like it got lost somewhere. So that was confirmed, and we got a hold of the moving company after like fighting tooth and nail. And it's really funny because one of our artists actually works with Mish at LMU. Mish is fired from LMU. I think tomorrow is his last day there. So she cornered him and was like, "Where's the shit, Mish?" And basically just like got it out of him, and contacted the moving company and found out that, like, yeah, that's how we found out that he hadn't paid. And it was something to the tune of like $4K that he owed them. And so he's in like any payment that he's been paying people has been like robbing Peter to pay Paul, basically. Like, I'm sure he sold those 2 expensive pieces of our printing equipment to continue the facade that he's trying actively to like pay people that he owes. I don't know. Or maybe he didn't pay anybody. I don't know. Like, we have no idea. There's a lot of money that we don't know where the fuck it's going. So they apparently today tried to charge his card again, and it went through, which is super funny because he didn't want to pay them. He just happened to have that money in his account at that time, and it went through. And apparently he was crying like a little bitch at school because he was all like, "Oh, I needed that money." It's like, "Oh, really?" You know, like, did you? Yeah, Mish does not have any empathy for the amount of harm that he's caused to so many people. He does not care that other people are struggling. All he cares about is his own financial situation. So of course he was butthurt that he actually paid these movers, but they did get paid. So we can get our stuff. The good news is we can get that stuff for the print archive, and our equipment and anything that was left there. The bad news is the storage fees are something to the tune of $612. And that's also, you know, Misha's fault. The Print Society may pay that, and then we can also get our stuff. And then they're going to, I'm sure they'll take legal action against Misha. I hope they do, at least. Most of the people that Mish screwed over don't have the means to take legal action. You know, taking people to court is very time consuming. It takes a lot of money, and I think he was kind of counting on that. This is an ongoing situation. Like, he is still actively trying to steal from people and not pay people. And you know, at this point I'm like mostly numb to it, but also like just mentally prepared for more bullshit to pop up. So that's kind of where we're at right now with the print shop. We are moving. We already have a location lined up. We need to figure out how we're going to pay the first month's rent. We've got some schemes. There is an event. It is like kind of a art social / class, and it's Offset X Tetrapod Studios special event, and we'll be putting up a flyer in the next couple days, so keep an eye out for that.
It's going to be December 18th.
December 18th. So if you are from the print shop and you would like to get involved and like touch base with us, that would be a great way to do it. And we will be starting an Offset Arts Instagram soon as well, so keep an eye out for that. And in the meantime, you can follow my account, Cornelius Van Gogh. That's VANGO, just like it's spelled here on this channel, or Clark Stone Massey. and just keep an eye out for that. We will be doing that. We also will be doing a T-shirt run to help drum up money for that. We don't know what the hell it's gonna be yet. It doesn't even have to say like our logo or anything like that. Just like a cool shirt that people can buy and rock and feel good about where the money is going. Um, and we also will be having a new drawing night here, and it sucks because this is not like a handicap accessible space, and that's a really big part of my personal mission as a handicap person, and also just like, you know, as a librarian and an anarchist, like if it is inaccessible, it is not radical. So unfortunately for now, we are up 3 flights of stairs. So and there's no elevator, so that we are changing that. The new location is wheelchair accessible. That's a big.
Someone's asking how to spell my.
Clarkstone, Massey.
You're
it's
so close.
so close. Instead of a Y, it's an EY. It's an IE, right? Or EI. EI.
So Clark with an E. So CLARKE, and then you got Stone right, and then Massey is MASSEI, and all that together is my Instagram handle.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and also just follow Clark because he's an incredible artist. And he was the one taking all the pictures of T-Boy Wrestling and printing all the merch. Even though Mish told a lot of people that he made it all himself, Clark is the one that was in the sweatshop, somehow surviving. And like this is like the hardest working artist that I've ever met, and like not just artist either, but just like hardest working person, at least in the top like 10. And I know some fucking psychos, like you know, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I do some rough jobs, and so that's saying a lot. Like you work so hard, and that's a huge asset to us. Like we have Clark and the others that really made the print shop what it was. So like moving forward, like we have all of the awesome functional and sustainable components that made the print shop so special without an embezzler toxic piece of shit stealing from all of us. So we got nowhere to go but up from here. If we could do what we did with that dark cloud hanging over us, there's no reason why we can't do more. And it's really exciting. I'm so excited to move forward with this. Honestly, like when I first got here to LA, I just wanted to get a leg made and hop back on a fucking freight train and get the fuck out of here. Now, after all this, I'm prepared to commit another year working on this, and like I've had a big part in securing our equipment, but I don't want to be the business owner.
I don't know if any like I.
None of us
None
do.
of us want
No.
it. That's why we. It's
We
like
want to
a
be. It's our stuff.
collective.
Yeah.
It's like we're
Right. We don't want to replicate. Like I'm not a capitalist. None of us are. We're all very radically minded people. So you know, as far as structure goes, we're going to be having a lot of really interesting conversations, and also consulting people that have been collective organizers with a lot more experience than I have, or any of us have, and really just like being super mindful about creating an infrastructure that is ethical and sustainable, and also accessible.
Accessible for
Mhm.
sure. Yeah.
Let's see. Sapphire says, found you. Awesome. Dope. Does anybody in chat have any questions? We got like 10 minutes left before the top of the hour here. Questions about the print shop, questions about T-Boy Wrestling, questions about Mish or me or Clark or the arts that we were doing. And also I'm going to just do a little more promotion for our fundraiser. That's a GoFundMe link. Or actually, no, that's Clark's Instagram. Thank you for posting that. Give Clark a
Thank
follow.
you.
Hell yeah. And if one of my mods can just like drop that GoFundMe link again, and I'm going to take a look here while folks figure out what they want to ask or comments, questions, concerns. And again, thank you so much for donating my PayPal, Rhonda. You're such a sweetheart. I'm gonna actually check my other money apps and see if any of you rock stars just like did that. um, I love you guys. You guys are great. I have the best fans on YouTube. I have the best subscribers, supporters. It really is like a community. And I'm not just saying that to like butter you guys up. You guys are great. I don't know why I can't get into my Venmo right now.
I think it might be down. Mine was doing the same thing earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you donated my Venmo, I didn't ask for that today. I asked to donate to the GoFundMe, but if you did, thank you. And nobody donated to the Cash App. That is expected because I didn't put that out there. GoFundMe, new print shop location. Please.
Wait, did we talk about the new location?
So I don't want to name drop because of the nature of the space.
Yeah.
Not to the public at least, because it is a
That
little bit more
is-
punk rock.
makes sense,
And folks on my channel are used to that from me.
Yeah.
I've worked at a number of anarchist collectives, including the library in New Orleans, where I
Makes
never
sense,
told people
yeah.
what the name was or where it was, and that's not because because anybody could be watching this,
That
and we
is
want to
true.
protect those spaces.
That is very true. Yeah.
Suffice it to say, it is a activist-centered collective space. It's a warehouse. It's near the rail yard, which I personally like. And it's a gorgeous space. You will be seeing like pictures and videos after I figure out how people feel about that and, set up because y'all know me, I'm not going to bring my camera in and start filming stuff without consent. But it's really, really exciting and really interesting. And there's also like I said, an event space, which we can also use like the common area for our classes, which is great because we can't afford the 2 rooms that we need right now, unless the GoFundMe kicks off goes crazy.
Goes crazy.
That would be dope. And if we did do that, we would be able to sustain it because all we needed right now is the space. We have the people, we have the equipment, we have plans. We just don't have funding. And we don't have our new space yet. So we're working on that. And you can help by donating to the GoFundMe and spreading the word. And if you are somebody that is here specifically because of your involvement with the print shop, make sure to share this video with other people that you know are also involved with the print shop that maybe haven't gotten word about all this because the print shop Instagram was deleted. So a lot of people
Instagram and website, no word of anything. It was just cold turkey.
Yeah. So the last thing they saw was posts about equipment being sold and then just deactivated account. So that's really scary for somebody that cares a lot about the print shop. So if that's you, make sure and share with folks that also should know. And we tried to make this stream, have replay value, of course, because of the subject matter, and try not to talk too much about just random shit. There's a lot. We're honestly giving the Cliff Notes versions too.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much going on here. But hopefully this is a good comprehensive kind of address of kind of the basic what's going on. Yeah. And to reiterate, PSLA is dead. Mish killed it. And we are moving forward with a new collective, and we are moving to a new space. And we will resume classes and memberships. And we do not have a timeline for that yet, although we do already have a class set up, and we will have 2 classes set up.
Yeah, I think in the meantime, even if our timeline goes awry, you can expect that we'll be at least doing pop-up partnership type things. We're doing our best to make sure everyone knows that the people that were actually part of PSLA, even though that space is no longer, that project's no longer, the people that actually the community, because that's how I met Porn. And that's how I met the other awesome printers who are part of our collective, and that's actually what matters.
That is, yeah, that's the heart of what we've been building and trying to accomplish. Conspiracy says, this is about to be beyond your expectations. I can't wait to see fruition. Thank you. I'm really excited.
Yeah, me too.
It's so exciting. Actually, I want to take a moment to show you guys a little bit of what we've got here. About a week ago, this space was just like a pile, um, and it was really crazy. But as of a couple days ago, it finally got like sorted, so it is functional, and we will make it more functional. So I'm just gonna flip the camera around here. Here's Clark. There's our light, so we look cute in front of the camera. And here's our presses. And we've got a little coffee station, which I'm very excited about. We got Clark's amazing plans here for things that we need to work on. We've got some tables here, which we will move out for drawing night, so we have room for new drawing. Got last.
See the rock star in this corner.
What's that?
Our 4-color press.
Yeah, you want to tell me about the 4-color press?
I mean, the baddest as and like the most badass thing about this thing is it has micro registration, which is what all this does. But it is like a really beautiful press to work on as far as screen printing goes.
Yeah, that's one of our prize pieces. And we have some screens left. We have a bunch of paints. This is all like not all. Well, this is leftover from the Rezo, which is really heartbreaking. The Rezo was kind of a big kind of flagship of the shop as well. And the Plastisol, we are moving away from Plastisol and going with eco-friendly paints, but we do want to use what we have, so we'll be utilizing what's left here just because we don't have all the money to just like throw out stuff, even though we don't like the toxic paint. We're just gonna either way, like if we threw it all out, it's still gonna be toxic. It's just like anyway. And then we've got our screens and stuff. We've got all sorts of odds and ends. We got a bunch of spray paint here, and that the shop doesn't really work with spray paint a whole lot, but I think that we can find some uses for it. We still haven't even opened some of these files here. And we got Satan over here. Hi, baby. Yeah. Floop. And we got this awesome screen rack. And a nice little desk work area here where Clark has already been hard at work. And I got the TV set up because I want to be able to play video games in here. But we're only going to be here till the last few days of December. And then we're moving to our new awesome location. So it's not a whole lot to speak of in here. This is just what we were able to get. And there are a few more pieces of equipment that Clark has at his house that he's using in the meantime, but we will we'll get those set up here, at least the stuff that we need to get set up here. We're still figuring out logistics of how we can start making shirts and merch as soon as possible so we can start bringing in some money from those. So it's we got to work out the logistics still. It might be a situation where we're burning screens over at Clark's place for now or whatever. We haven't figured that out yet, but we will, because we have to. We will do it. We thrive under pressure. That's one thing that we do. Amazing. Sapphire posted the link to the GoFundMe again. If you're watching, if you've watched thus far and you think all this sounds really cool and exciting, please consider adding your donation. We only got our first donation during this stream because nobody wants to be the first one, but
first two donations.
First two donations. And I'm gonna read off those names again. Yeah, Chris was our first, and Kaylin was our second. I'm gonna refresh just in case anybody else kicked down, so I can give them a shout out. Nope, not yet. Who wants a shout out? Come on, fuck you, pay me. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Oh, hey, actually, no. We got Sapphire. Thank you. What a sweetheart. Sapphire's been such a huge supporter of mine.
Oh, that's awesome.
For so many years, and is one of the all-star mods here. Melissa says, awesome, much love from Oregon. Patty says, you've been working hard, organized, great to see Satan. Yeah, we've been busting ass. Like, some of these days, like, we've been doing multiple, like, 14-hour days just working here, and we kind of did like a half day today because we're just like we don't want to get burnt out. And also, I'm going back to Slab City tomorrow, and I'll be working on the library while doing remote organizing for the print shop as well. But I had planned the outing to Slab City before all of this developed. Um, but you know, yeah, I have that too, and I really I'm really excited for also kind of like enmeshing the resources with the print shop and the library too. Like I don't know exactly what. Definitely, I'll be printing zines to bring out to the library. But you know, collaboration is always really exciting,
Yeah.
and it's you know in keeping with our creed of like accessible education. So yeah, I'm gonna be out in Slabs for the next few days, and I'll probably be doing some live streams from Slabs as well. So if you want to see what's going on with Slab City Library, stay tuned. Make sure you hit the thumbs or the subscribe. Hit subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon because my my life is chaotic. I could go live at any moment, and you know if you wanna catch that or at least get notified, you gotta hit the bell icon. Um, do we have any more questions before we fuck right off? Conspiracy says, so proud of you, fam. Thank you. Conspiracy Theorist is also a really amazing longtime supporter, and Sam. And Patty's been around for a good minute too. We got a lot of all stars. We got rock stars up in here.
Nice.
Kashana says, hi Clark.
Hello.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we're gonna do right. It's gonna be yeah. I don't wanna make a bunch of big flowery promises like some people, but we're busting ass. That is a fact. We're working really, really hard. And I feel really good about the progress we've made so far. Like
I didn't know this was gonna happen a week ago, and here we are.
yeah.
So-
Seriously, like literally a week ago we had no idea, and now we're like moving forward as an artist collective. And that's so exciting. And we didn't lose everything because for a moment there, it was
we
looking
thought
like we were going to lose everything.
Yeah, I was under the impression we lost
Yeah.
everything. So that's why I thought there was some version of this
Yeah.
far in the future, but I didn't know that we were going to be clocking in to do this right now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, with Clark's expertise and my brazen action-oriented whatever, like,
and the rest of our team.
and the rest of our team with their expertise and their skills, like, we got it. We bagged it. We're good. And, you know, like, I was kind of quiet about, like, our progress up until the 1st because that was, like, the day that our lease officially started. And, you know, like, Mish can't come after us legally or anything because he's on the run from the law and has tons of debt. He's in a lot of trouble. He's looking at, like, multiple class action lawsuits, small claims, business fraud, credit card fraud, like, all sorts of stuff. But, you know, once the 1st rolled over, it's like, yeah, even if he were to try to take anything into a legal realm, like, he can't. He can't now. You know, he abandoned his space here, and now I'm on the lease. So this is my room. This is our shit. So it's all good now. Now we can talk about it and post updates, and it's not a sketchy situation anymore. Our ship is stabilized. We're good. Lots of love to you too, Sapphire. And let's see. Do you have any final thoughts or?
Not really. I mean, I feel like we covered a lot here, so
Yeah.
I'm just excited for the future, and this the craziness isn't going to stop at this time.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the craziness.
Mhm. And how many of you would buy a Slab City Library T-shirt with a whole new design? Raise your hand. And if you're watching this on replay, leave a comment in the comment section, and let me know if you'd be interested in some shirts. I will reveal a shirt design very soon. Sapphire, hell yeah. Sam, fuck yeah. Awesome. Yeah, we're doing stuff, and then yeah, we're doing Slab City Library t-shirts for sure, and also one of our original designs for our new collective. So keep an eye out for that, and also keep an eye out for some live streams in the next few days based out of Slab City. We're gonna change up the whole vibe again. Thanks y'all for joining us. I really appreciate you guys, and I really appreciate the folks that donated. And I will give you updates on our progress. Yeah. Here's some Satan before we go. Satan. Here, I'm gonna give her a little doggy treat, and then we're gonna fuck off. Yeah, Bubba. Oh, I don't have to hold it like this. Oh, you're doing a little stretch, baby. Here. You want a treat? You want this? Nice. Good job. Good girl. All right. I'll see y'all later. Take it easy. Stay tuned for more. Bye.